It's just one game. We're hearing that a lot around the NBA right now as teams struggle to find their footing after the shortest offseason in history. Hey, so we lost by 20, won by 40, whatever, it's just one game. Which is true, except one game doesn't mean what it used to. In this shortened season, every outing is one of 72, not one of 82, which is why when, say, Ja Morant is projected to be out 3 to 5 weeks with an ankle injury, it's all that much more devastating for a team like Memphis. It's also why, in Philadelphia, even just this second week of the season, it feels like there's an invisible James Harden-shaped ticking clock over the Sixers' heads. Will Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers be better than their predecessors at putting Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons in position to flourish together? Or at some point, some number of games in, will it be time to push the button on a train for a certain bearded gentleman from Houston? The Sixers did seem to do the right things this offseason, making moves to create more spacing for their two stars, and they said the right things in training camp. Ben Simmons told reporters that former teammate Josh Richardson, quote, was definitely right when Richardson said there wasn't enough accountability in Philadelphia last year, and that since Doc arrived in town, Simmons said, quote, it's been great to see that and see guys be accountable for certain things and come here ready with a different mindset, unquote. Of course, those are all nice words, but now that the season has officially started, the games are what count. And last night against the Raptors, things did not start out well for the Sixers. Philadelphia trailed for most of the first half, shooting 29% from the field, just 22% from three. Meanwhile, on the other end of the floor, Toronto was getting so many good looks from three, you wondered if the Sixers arena staff had accidentally left a bunch of welcome mats out beyond the arc. There was also Kyle Lowry back in his hometown doing Kyle Lowry things. Yet slowly, as the game ground on, Philadelphia pushed its way through. Tobias Harris and Seth Curry both found their shots, combining for 18 points in the third quarter alone. Embiid persisted through an injury scare to finish with 29 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, with a 14 of 16 performance at the line to boot. And the Sixers defense buckled down hard, holding Toronto scoreless for nearly 4 minutes in the final frame to turn the game for good. Now, this wasn't officially the game winner, but it felt like it. A nice Curry three on a pass from Embiid, where Curry was so wide open thanks to a triple team on Joel. The Sixers' updated roster construction working exactly like it's supposed to there. So what does it all mean? Should we be thinking this is finally the year that Embiid has a legit place in the MVP discussion? Should we be worried about Simmons still being predictable in the half court? Or should we be noting his defensive versatility as a marker of the Sixers being able to eke out more gritty wins like this one? Or should we not draw any conclusions at all? Sure, it was only just one game. But in this city, in this season, that means more than it ever has. So, Perk, seeing as how that was just one game last night, they're just a few games in, are you buying the Sixers roster tweak so far?
I am buying it. The thing that the Sixers were missing was spacers and guys that could shoot the lights out of the ball. You look at a guy like Danny Green. You look at a guy like Seth Curry, who I think just get props for shooting the ball, but Rachel, he's a hell of a basketball player. He's an underrated defender. He's an underrated playmaker. And then when you look at the structure of that team, just think about this. Tobias Harris was having one of the best seasons of his career with the Clippers under Doc Rivers. And Joel Embiid, I love what Doc Rivers is going to do for Joel, and what he's doing for Joel is he's holding them accountable, not on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. And it's a ripple effect. So when you can hold Joel accountable, not Ben Simmons is saying, you know what, I could play for Doc. I could go out here and lay it all out on the line. I love the way this team is structured. I think they're moving in a great direction. And last year, this time, if they were down at halftime like they were to the Raptors, I don't know if we would have seen this same fight. But since Doc Rivers is there, one thing I know about Doc, his halftime speeches are going to be on point, and he's also going to get guys to rally back and play together, and that's what we saw yesterday from the 76ers.
You know, from the start, when Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers got together there, they made it very clear that this was going to be a Joel Embiid-focused team. Everything that they've said and done has pointed at that. They haven't gone away from Ben Simmons, but they have really played to Joel. And those roster tweaks that you mentioned, Rachel, were about Joel. And if you watched this game last night, They ran their offense through the end of the game, through Joel Embiid, with high pick and rolls. In their opener, where they had a 10-point comeback victory over Washington in the fourth quarter, they ran that whole fourth quarter offense through Embiid in the post. And, that is really what this is about. This is about giving Joel Embiid what he wants, which is the ball in his hands and control to be the kind of MVP candidate that he thinks he can be. The other thing is, Doc Rivers is putting no pressure on Ben Simmons on three-pointers. He has not taken a three-pointer yet. Last year, remember, Brett Brown publicly announcing,
yes,
Ben, we want you to shoot a three every game. Doc has not done that at all, and the roster changes allow him to take that pressure off of Ben, and this approach so far has him 3-1, and then the loss was when Embiid sat.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.